Useless girl, never the bright one. The fork in his hand hovered mid-air as if the insult hadn't been enough. He wanted the words to sink in, twist. I didn't flinch. Not this time. I simply pressed my thumb against the edge of my car keys, feeling the cold metal bite into my skin. The only thing stopping me from speaking was the knowledge that in less than 12 hours, his perfect world would collapse, and I'd be the one pulling the thread. I used to believe him. When I was 7, I thought if I studied harder, ran faster, smiled wider, maybe he'd notice me. But my brother, Daniel, was the golden one. Sharp jaw, perfect grades, the son my father paraded like a trophy. I was tolerated. Still, I stayed. I worked for the family business after college. I built the infrastructure that kept it alive. When Daniel racked up debts from gambling and botched investments, I quietly cleaned the mess. I thought loyalty would be enough to buy me a place in his heart. It wasn't. The betrayal didn't arrive as a thunderclap. It crept in, quiet and deliberate. A memo I wasn't copied on. Board meetings moved without notice. I told myself it was an oversight, until the shareholder packet landed on my desk. Daniel's name, CEO. Mine? Erased. My signature was missing from the final approval. Someone had forged it. And my father's name was there, right next to Daniel's, in black ink. The air left my lungs. Not because I'd lost the title. I'd lost the years I'd given them. The nights I stayed in the office while my friends lived their lives. The vacations I never took. The silence I swallowed. I didn't cry. I calculated. First, I pulled my personal holdings out of the company, quietly, in small withdrawals over 3 months, converting them into hard assets under a trust no one knew existed. Second, I began documenting. Emails, contracts, bank statements showing Daniel's misuse of corporate funds. Every lie, every falsified report, printed and time-stamped. Third, I waited. And then it came. A merger deal. Our company's golden ticket. The press release would go live Monday morning. Millions at stake. Daniel and my father had no idea I owned the land rights the deal depended on. Land I had purchased under an LLC years ago when I was still too naive to understand business. Tonight was my last family dinner. I watched them laugh over wine, Daniel's new Rolex flashing under the chandelier. My father toasted to the future. I raised my glass too, masking the slow burn of satisfaction in my chest. When dessert came, my father leaned across the table, his voice sharp enough to slice through the sugar in the air. "You'll find something else to do, or someone else to take care of you." Daniel chuckled. My mother looked down. I smiled, not kindly. The next morning, the calls began. Daniel first, then my father, then the lawyer. I didn't answer. By noon, the news broke. The merger had collapsed. The land rights had been sold to a foreign investor for $15 million. Me! Without that land, the company's stock tanked 47% in a single day. By evening, the bank froze Daniel's accounts pending an investigation into the financial irregularities I had sent, anonymously, to the SEC. By night, my father's name was trending online, not for the empire he'd built, but for the corruption he'd buried. They showed up at my door 2 days later. Daniel's face was pale, his suit wrinkled. My father looked smaller somehow. "You've ruined us," he said. No rage this time, just disbelief. I stepped aside, letting them see the open box on the table. Documents, photographs, proof of every betrayal they'd dealt me. The box wasn't for them. It was for the press, already scheduled for pickup in an hour. "I didn't ruin you," I said. "You handed me the match." Daniel tried to speak. I stopped him with a look. I spent years holding this family together. You mistook my silence for weakness. You mistook my loyalty for permission. My father's jaw tightened. You're no daughter of mine. I smiled. Finally, something we agree on. I watched them leave. No slammed doors, no screaming. Just the sound of shoes on the gravel drive, each step carrying them farther from the life they once controlled. When they were gone, I walked to the window. The city lights stretched out before me, glittering like the future I had carved for myself. Alone, unbound. For years, I'd chased their approval like oxygen. Now, I breathed just fine without it. They will rebuild, maybe, or maybe not. But they will remember the day their golden child wore bronze, and the useless girl walked away with the crown. And I will never let them forget who put it there.